Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I thought I would do a watercolor tutorial video today. The lighting's all wonky. I apologize. There's no sun out and it's later in the afternoon. I literally kicked everyone out of the house. Everyone was just being super loud. I'm sorry, babies. I absolutely love you, but I cannot do a video with that amount of volume. It's so distracting. Anyway, so I thought it would be fun. Hold on. I am having a little bit of an allergy attack. Sorry about that. I thought it would be fun to do something with granulating watercolors. Now, if you don't have any granulating watercolors, I think you do. I'm gonna say I think you do, because within every large set or large amount of tubes that folks tend to have, there tends to be one or two that just don't lay across the page evenly. You can check this. Sometimes it says on the tube, sometimes it'll say on the pan. Go to the website of each of, can you hear my cat? The website of each of the companies that own the watercolors that you have. This is Schmincke's Hoodrum Aquarelle. This is French Ultramarine. A lot of blues have some sort of granulating. I'm going to link some articles. There's some good ones that talk about that list some, especially if you're looking for more granulating information. I'm not going to go heavy on the information on this one. I just thought it'd be fun to do a tutorial and paint something today. But I can really see the gum arabic separating in this one, so this one's probably going to be shiny as it dries. And this is just a cheap palette I have. This is the Studio Grade Fabriano cold press. You want to use the most textured paper you can to up the granulation to enhance it. I'm trying to think where I saw a good list of some colors that are granulating. I purchased specific tubes. I created a playlist last night because I have some duotone light fast combinations where at least one of them is granulating, and I did 3 or 4 of those videos. Sorry about that. Again, my voice. About a year ago, I created a bunch of videos where I mix them together and show you what those look like. So I created a playlist called Granulating Watercolor. There's only like 5 videos, but if you're interested, I have that for you. So again, if you have a French Ultramarine, blues, Prussian, Cerulean are really, really good. Perylene Scarlet is really good. There's a lot of granulating earth tones, so siennas, the raw, the burnt umber. A lot of blacks, Payne's gray, ivory black can be really granulating. You'll find them more in blues. So check out your cobalts. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. I'm so sorry, this video is a mess. Once I get started though, I don't like to interrupt because it's watercolor. It becomes really, really hard to start and stop these. Okay, so French Ultramarine, Schmincke. This is just a tube I have. And then I'm going to use, I have the Marry Me, May Mary Blue. This is Potter's Pink. Oh gosh. You're really gonna see the lack of wrist power I have in my life. I just have the weakest wrists, so everything's always a challenge. That Potter's Pink is a lot of fun. So I'm going to put these 2 colors together. And I have a little towel. That way I can dry stuff off for a little bit of dry brushing later. And again, I don't own a horse. We have a couple cats. We have a dog. That is one of our cats. The brushes I'm going to be using a 6 round. This is the Royal and Lang Nickel. It's fine. And then I have a double lot. This is 00. This is the Winsor Newton Cotman for really fine detail. That's a good one. And I will zoom in. I just kind of wanted to show you what my setup looked like. And then I'm going to put some water. So another way to really enhance granulating watercolor is make sure everything has a ton of water. You can add a lot of water to your page, but for this tutorial, we're not going to be utilizing the bloom effect. So you really don't want to pre-add water to your page. But that is one way to take regular watercolors and try and create faux granulation. And granulation is just the particles, the pigment, they just clump together in weird, ununiform ways on your page, especially if you're using a cold press or a rough, into the divots, the tooth of the paper, and it creates a really fun texture that we are just going to lean into. Again, you don't have to use granulating watercolors. Oh my gosh, Kat, I love you. But that's just what I'm using just for fun. You can use any two colors together that kind of separate and divide out from each other, sort of an oil-water mixture. We're just not gonna mix them too much together. And we're just gonna create, this is sort of, I'm hoping this is a mid-range level because I'm not doing a lot of shadows and lights for this, not in the traditional sense. And I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do here. Yay, we're zoomed in. Okay, so here's what I have up close, and then here are my two brushes a little bit closer. Just any fine detail brush you have, and then just a bigger one will make this a lot easier. So I found this really cool picture on Pixabay, which is a royalty-free image hosting site. This one is by Blender Timer. Daniel Roberts took this picture of a chipmunk. Photopea is a free editing website where you can go and change this up, and I did this. So I took this really beautiful, rich photo, which would be a lot of fun to recreate with, watercolors would take some work to get those first, but it'd be a lot of fun with colored pencil. I turned it black and white just to see what that would look like for value range. And then I added I trimmed it, obviously, because the background can be distracting. I added a photo filter to it. So we get sort of two tones. We get the dark, we get the light. Now you can do this any manner of ways. If you only have like one really great color of watercolor that you love, that could be all the gray in this photo. And then the white could just be the page shining through. Or you could take two colors, and the gray could be the darker value color that you're using, and the white could be the secondary color if you choose to do it that way. I'm going to kind of mix these a little bit. I'm going to use one of these. I see a lot of stuff separating in my French ultramarine. So it really needs to be stirred and watered down. And we're just going to do it like this so you can really see shape and curve and fur and identify those little pieces out. I like sometimes changing photos this way for shape studies to really up how I see and view images and how the little pieces come together to create a whole. And again, there's no right or wrong way. I just chose these two colors because these are two colors I haven't used in a while. I haven't done a lot of watercolor this year, and I'm really contemplating doing something for Halloween. Gosh, I like Drawloween. It's a fun drawing challenge. I'm thinking about it. The prompt lists are already out. I will link Mab's Instagram if you want to look at the prompts for that. Okay, so here are my colors. And it's a real like challenge to make sure that you can see what I'm doing and get the detail, but like see the zoomed out portion of it too. That's kind of like, how do I show you the details and the overall coming together of this? Okay, so I am going to start, what am I going to start with? I'm going to start with the chipmunk's nose. It's on the left-hand side. If you are left-handed, you may want to maybe start with an ear or the hind and figure out how you want that positioned on your page coming together. I'm going to just really sloppily add color and overlap them so they mix but still don't look perfectly mixed together. Basically, I'm going to slapdash this real quick. This is going to be a fun, wild one. Get involved, try it out, try this multiple ways. I mean, you can even fine liner this if you want to. Charcoal, whatever you feel comfortable with, all creative levels. But what I'm not gonna do is I'm not going to mix my pink and blue together in a pan. I'm going to overlap them individually on here and watch as they granulate out and still try and hold their color. Okay. The thing with granulating watercolors is the more you mix and work them on the page, the less they granulate. So you kind of want to lay it out and leave it. So if you feel more comfortable pre-sketching with pencil to make sure you get it all where you want it to be, like pre-sketch the stripes and the eye and the inside of the ears and some of those bigger shapes, by all means, pause this video, do that right now. I'm not going to, I'm just gonna lean into the imperfection that is the perfection of animals. I just love them. So, you ready? We're going to do an arch, that is the nose, and we're going to come up with a stripe. I'm starting from the bottom and going out. It creates a finer tip at the end. I'm going to add a little bit of pink to that and come out with this second stripe right here. And this goes into the eyeball. I want the blue. Now, the eyeball is really a beautiful oval shape that has little light shine in there, so I don't want to completely fill this whole thing up. I want to make sure that we get spots of light for this eye, and then we can see the continuation of this stripe. Okay, and I want some pink in here. It's a wild color for a chipmunk, I will give you that. We can take our finer brush and do some of the individual hairs. If you are interested in getting into some of that finer point. The bigger one connects to this stripe that goes under the eye. And you can add more water, you can add more color to that. However you want. I mean, this one's going to be really, really wet, but it's going to dry. I'll put a finished picture of it dried for the sort of thumbnail picture of the video, so you can kind of see what this looks like. I'll also put this up in my Instagram and link that if you want to see. I could do a zoomed out so you see the whole thing, and then a zoomed in so you can see the granulation. Sometimes you kind of have to be right on top of it to see the granulation. So I'm coming back in, and I know that there are whiskers and there's individual little fur things, and I'm just pulling from the water that I already have. I have a lot of water. Again, granulation loves water. They're big time friends. So if you want to add little fur strokes to kind of make it look a little more realistic, not quite so harsh, this is one way to do that. Okay, you start to see that we have the beginnings of the head going, and we are going to do sort of the bottom of the chin, which has whiskers and things in it, and it curves up. There's definitely sort of an arch here. And I don't care which color I grab. I'm grabbing both. They're both beautiful, and they kind of connect to each other. Okay, and this is more of a, I would say it's a triangular shape right here, with fur coming out. So I'm just grabbing from the center and pulling out so we get those finer fur tips. Okay. And then if I want to add individual little furs in here, I can. I can keep going and pulling from here. keep adding to the shape. And it just, you can keep going with this. You can keep layering different colors on top of each other. And then I'm going to slide this. I know I'm going to have the picture right here, so I want to show, I want to get this on camera without cutting that off. Okay, now there's kind of a rectangular shape that goes this direction. Okay, and here is, I'm carving out the negative space for the foot. What in the world is she doing? And I'm going to blend this into the finer furs. And then this arches, doesn't it? It arches into part of the hind leg. You can do little dots, you can do little stripes. We're coming out with this arch region here. And there is negative space here for the back. So this is the back of the chipmunk. It is a solid color here that sort of blends in. And then this is all leg that can be great individual fur brush practice. So if you want to do individual fur strokes, you absolutely can. Just keep in mind that it arches down. Okay, this is the hind leg, so have some sort of arching shape so you know to follow that around. Make sure you're not getting too out of shape here. And fur doesn't, it's different lengths, it's different thicknesses, it's different directions. It's one of the fun things about fur is it goes every which way. Fur's awesome. So as we go down though, it gets thicker and more dense and more opaque with color. So this is going to be the solid color that I'm going to sort of blend into here with little stipples, little dots, little things. And this is all sort of a little white triangle area here because it's part of the foot. So I'm going to pull up. I'm starting to get that purple color from them two being mixed together. Can you see that? Not really pink, not really blue, definitely periwinkle. And we can go in with the fine brush and we can denote the little tiny furs that are for the feet. Make sure I get some color on there that you can see. I'm always worried you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so there's a foot. Now, there's another little foot right here. Little arches and little furs. And then make sure that this fur comes out. It's not such a harsh line. I'm going to blend that a little bit. Okay, and then this is a white fur chunk. And then this would be the negative space of the background. But I want to work on ears. I want this guy to have the ears he so rightfully has earned. So there is a stripe here before we go up into this very egg type shape that kind of feathers down into the fur, and this kind of goes up. I'm just going to sort of highlight that a little bit, and then I'm going to come over here and figure out where I want my background color to be to help me outline the next shape. So the next shape is more of a pointy style oval, and this oval inside is not finished. he does come up to a point and he starts to come down and he gets all ragged and he just can't figure himself out. So definitely want a little more fur in here. Want a little more chaos, want a little more blending, a little more fun. And blend these two things out together so they look like they belong, like they're fast friends. And we can shape things up. We can get things closer to lines here with the fine detail brush. Fine detail brushes are my favorite. I don't have a favorite brand. They're all pretty budget when they're this small, which is nice. Just want to make sure, because this is super wet, that this doesn't... Ooh, let's add some pink up over here. I don't want anything to bleed into each other. Ooh, it's going to be fun when it dries. I promise. It's going to be nice and weird. We'll be all about it. Pull it in, the individual colors. Okay. Ooh, that's going to be fun. And if you want to go back and add another layer, because this is pretty thin to start off with another color, you have time to do that. That's starting to dry. You can pull down a little bit, add a little bit more fur. I'm starting to lose things because of the glare. And then we're going to go around really carefully, trying not to touch, for negative space, because we want to denote the other fur. And the other fur is really, really light. So we are going to come around and we're going to start pulling up. And this is the white fur. And then you can just fill this out however far you want your background to go. As soon as it starts to dry, you get the hard lines. So if you don't want, I'm going to add more water. If you don't want to have hard lines that you're trying to blend out, like up here is a little bit drier, add more water, soften it up, add more color. This is how I get my smock so dirty. This is why I need a smock. This is how I use my smock. So. And then you can thin it out. You can grab a really wide brush if you want to pull out and just sort of pull the color out. And you can really start to see the colors granulate. I mean, look how they fit into the grooves. It's a very clumping pigment. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy using this stuff when I am in the mood for it. You could keep going around if you want. Add a little more color, add a little more intrigue to the shape, to the space. This could be a portrait, it could be a gift, it could be cut as a huge gift tag, it could be made into a bookmark. It could be anything you want it to be. It could just be practice. This could be tipped in or taped in to a sketchbook or a journal, or you can just cut the chipmunk portion out if that is the portion that you really, really like. It just depends on preference. I could go in, add a little bit of water, try and see if I can get some of these lighter ones to granulate a little bit more. I'm just lightly tapping some water to see if I can get more granulation in certain areas that were very dry. Very dry fur strokes aren't going to granulate as much. But as you can see, here's a little chipmunk. If you want to go in with your darkest color and try and pull some whiskers in certain areas, you might need to wait till your background is fully dry and then go in as dark as you can and pull out some more whisker-like shapes into there. I don't know if this can, it's gonna bloom because it's still really wet. But you can add some whiskers, some fun things to really enhance what everybody is looking at here. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was very fast. It was very sort of sketchy. If you want to try and like fill in the back, I know the back's a little cut off, but you can just kind of come down with the paint and things you have and blend it in and just not worry about the tail region. Chipmunks are a lot of fun. Oh, this is so wet. Oh, I love granulated watercolor. Okay, we can do this again. If you want to do this with like a dinosaur or a portrait or something really, really unique, we can even do something holiday themed for those who celebrate. If not, we can turn it into sort of like a winter type thing. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere and you're just like, no, I need beach, I need hammocks, we can figure something out. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.